Okay, so now I feel vindicated in what I said in that previous video, because Top Hat has come out himself and said that the game is apparently fixed. Like I said in the previous video that was like 2.5 hours long, the game had like minor flaws that could easily be fixed with like a few minor patches. And that's exactly what they've done within days. This is a digital only game, so you're not really losing anything because the disc version does not exist. So there is no piss poor version that is on the disc somewhere, you know what I'm saying? So a day one patch for this game is not the end of the world because it's digital only. And hopefully if they do get the physical release, as they are hoping to get out, it will have the game perfected on the disc. So really, there's no big flaw here. But like I said previously, Top Hat completely just was talking bullshit, saying it was not as good as River City Girls 2 and freaking Double Dragon Gaiden, which was complete horseshit. So let's see what he's got to say now.
In Power Rangers, Rita's Rewind was a game that drew a strong reaction from me when I first covered it. While outlets like IGN and other mainstream media have heaped praise on it, shielded by their free review copies and early access, the paying customers who had sacrificed their cash to experience the game had a much harsher response.
Maybe they did, but I didn't, and I bought this with my hard-earned cash.
The divide between the access-driven echo chamber and the actual player experience is painfully obvious.
What are you talking about, though? Nobody's even talking about this game. We have a game here that did not sell for shit. If you're going by the people that bought it and played it, then it's mixed reviews. It's mixed reviews. I'm getting a shit ton of views on like videos for this because nobody's covering it. So you're telling me that it's like everybody hates it. No one even knows it exists. That's the problem. This game has been poorly marketed. It has not gotten through to the mainstream fans, or people don't know what this is. I'm getting comments on my video, what is this game? Because I left the title out on my other channel when I just moved the Twitch upload over it, and they don't even know what the game is. So there you go. That says it all right there. The game has had bad marketing. So I don't see how it's like, well, everybody hates it. Nobody knows it exists. That would be a more appropriate comment.
On Steam, for example, the user review score languishes at a mere 56%, flooded with negative ratings and numerous complaints from frustrated players expressing their disappointment with the game.
So there's an issue with the Steam version of the game, is that what you're saying? Because I alluded to that a couple of times in the previous video. Because you're saying like the gameplay is trash, and you're not explaining to me what you mean. You're not explaining to me what you mean by the gameplay is trash in the video. And now we've come to find out the Steam version is trash, apparently. Isn't this a common thing on PC where they get the worst port? Isn't this every single fucking game at this point? Is it not easier just to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation because the PC gets shit on from a great height every single time? Is that the issue here?
Many of you watching today, I spent the equivalent of nearly $40 on this entry, a hefty price
for
some...
Are you still crying about the price, man? Like, how? It's not expensive. It's no more expensive than your precious Double Dragon Gaiden was when it came out, okay? It isn't. Reality check.
Thing that feels no more ambitious than a small indie title, rather than delivering
It's an indie studio.
Genuinely fun and satisfying retro-inspired experience. It felt like the developers were more concerned with milking nostalgia.
It's a Power Rangers game. How can it not milk nostalgia? I said this before. How can it not milk nostalgia? What are they supposed to do? Oh, well, it was a Power Rangers game. How do we not have nostalgia? Okay, let's not put any Power Rangers in it. There you go. That's the only way you could do it. It's a Power Rangers game. It has to have nostalgia. If the Green Ranger's there, it's only there for nostalgia. I don't get it. Like, it's a Power Rangers game. It's gonna have stuff from the old, and this game literally follows the plot of the freaking Netflix series, like, that came out recently. So how's that nostalgia baiting?
Collecting the core gameplay polish that would have made the price tag justifiable to us. But guess what?
The price tag is justifiable, and even more so now because they've added 2-player co-op. At least on the Xbox, they've added 2-player online co-op. on the Xbox, right? So the value of the game has gone up, not down, since the last review. What do you want this game to be? You want this game to be like £6 fucking pounds, like River City Girls 2 or some shit, or whatever it is? It's like, it's a brand new game. It ain't gonna be on sale day one. It was £25 to pre-order. You had a £5 off there. I don't get it.
For once, the company behind this game didn't just take our money and run. In a surprising turn of events...
Who said they were going to? Who said they were going to? You assumed that right out of the fucking gate that no updates were coming for this game. And all it needed was, like, on the Xbox version at least, was very slight tweaks. It was a near perfect game. I don't know what the fuck the Steam version was like, but hey.
Within the first week of release, the developers have actively listened to the wave of negative feedback.
We haven't listened to no wave of negative feedback. These patches must have been planned. They can't just magically fix it in a week. They must have known there was patches coming down the line.
And rolled out a massive update.
Massive update? What? Online mode, 2-player, and a few tweaks.
Address many of the issues that have plagued the game since its launch. Intrigued by this, I decided to replay the entire game this morning, and surprisingly, I have good news for you all. It now feels like a completely different game.
So you're saying the Steam version was shit? It sounds like the Steam version was running an older version than the Xbox. It sounds like the Xbox version was a more well-rounded game at release, and the Steam version is like you were punching and you couldn't even hit anybody. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like this is a Steam version issue.
I have to admit, I love a happy ending. So let's dive into the extensive changes and explore why this title is so much better than it was just a week ago.
Yeah, but they fixed it in a week if this is the case.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, Big Daddy Top Hat here. This is how they fixed Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. Yeah! Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind features a blend of gameplay styles that aim to capture the essence of retro gaming while delivering variety to keep players engaged. The most prominent...
That's what I said in the last review. It delivers variety to keep players engaged. I just didn't say it like I read it off a cue card. I said it's got to keep multiple people engaged because it's a 6-player game, so it has different stages. You were saying it shouldn't have them stages because it's a jack of all trades, master of none, and it should just be linear beat 'em up from start to finish, and absolutely none of these stages should be in it. That's what you said in the previous video. Now you're praising it for doing that.
Is beat 'em up gameplay. The sections that got me most excited, considering we are currently living through the beat 'em up renaissance period. On the subject of this glorious age of grappling, I can hook you up with massive discounts on some of the best games in the genre.
Okay, we're straight into the sale again. How are they the best games in the genre though? When you're saying don't buy Power Rangers, buy River City Girls 2. It doesn't make sense. Buy Double Dragon Gaiden. No.
About 60% off the pulse-pounding Streets of Rage 4, or maybe up to a whopping 78% off the epic River City Girls series.
No!
And don't miss the electrifying Double Dragon Gaiden slashed by 80% to just $5.19.
Why was it slashed by 80%? Because it fucking sucks.
But that's not all. By using my affiliate links, you can get up to 90% off of thousands of other games too, including a plethora of retro greats. If you've been eyeing up some new titles for your collection, now's the perfect time to strike. After all, why wait? Treat yourself, you deserve it. Speaking of getting what we deserve, it's been just 6 days since I uploaded my last Power Rangers video, where I voiced my deep dissatisfaction with the game and argued that both I and other paying customers deserve better. In a wonderful twist, the game's publisher and developer, Digital Eclipse, have responded in the best way possible. Not only acknowledging our complaints, but actively working to fix them with release of up.
Doesn't make sense at all. If the game has a patch a week after launch, clearly this shit was planned. The patch was already planned because the Xbox didn't have the online mode at launch. Clearly they had that planned. Clearly they didn't just suddenly go, hey, we're going to bang the online mode out. We're just going to make one on the fly. Clearly it was planned. So that makes no sense what you're saying there. It doesn't make any sense what you just said. Clearly the patch was already in the works. Clearly they've got multiple versions of this game. It runs on PlayStation 4, Switch, Xbox, PC. Clearly multiple versions of this game, and clearly not all the versions that released were at the same level when they came out. That's what I'm reading into at this point, because I don't get it. Like, you...
Update 1.0.8. To give credit where it's due, I never imagined they'd respond so perfectly, let alone roll out so...
Because I said in the last video that this game was probably going to need like minor tweaks, and that patches would probably already come in for this. And then the patches came out within a few days, and I was proved right.
Many changes this quickly. On the game's Steam community page, Digital Eclipse promised that we've heard suggestions from lots of players over the last few days. And we're happy to say we're rolling out refinements to Rita's Rewind to adjust various parts of the game based on that feedback. These changes are available on Steam now. Refinements to Rita's...
Rangers can perform a dodge move without any cooldown. Rangers can grab attack speed increased. All Rangers now have move faster, walk at faster speeds. In easy modes, the dodge move is always invulnerable. Ranger can chain rising strike. Blah, blah, blah. See, this stuff, right, was like I said in the previous video. Minor tweaks.
Rewind to adjust various parts of the game based on that feedback. These changes are available on Steam now, but all players on other platforms will receive this update soon. Then they run through an extensive list of changes that they have made that breathe new life into the
I feel like they're lying to you. I feel like they're lying to you. I feel like the Steam version is behind the other ones. That's why you had such a horrible, horrendous experience. And that's why they had to patch the Steam version first, because that one was the one that was actually the furthest behind. That's what I think. I think the Steam version released more broken than the rest of them, and they just haven't got the balls to tell the PC gamers that, because they will cry their eyes out. That's probably the truth.
Previously lackluster the title. First, they point out to us a number of refinements they have made to what they call the title's broad.
Players can swap to any other NPC ranger in the juice bar. Speed run clock is no longer affected by time disruptors. How do you mean? Shouldn't it be affected by time disruptors? If the time's going back, then the time should go back, right? Hey? In hard mode, enemies now have the same health as normal, but do twice the damage. Interesting. So they made hard mode different from headache mode by making it easier. What was the purpose of that? Time disruptors are easier to destroy in easy mode. Vertical attack collision. Like I say, minor patches. Minor patches.
All of the gameplay, aka the beat 'em up sections, the parts of the game that perked my interest in Rita's Rewind in the first place. If you watched my video last week, you will recall that I mentioned that it was just not as fun or polished as Streets of Rage 4, Shredder's Revenge, or many of the other high quality
River City Girls 2 and Double Dragon Gaiden. Yeah, my arse. My fucking arse. And you had the audacity to say the Super Nintendo Power Rangers is better. Fuck off.
Ups that are currently available on the market. Early Steam reviews noted that Rita's Rewind felt slow and cumbersome compared to other games in the genre, a sentiment I shared.
And thankfully, I still think that was a Steam issue. Never had that problem on the Xbox. I'm just going to say it right there.
It seems Digital Eclipse made improvements on the game's pace, their top priority this week. They've increased both walking and dash speeds, allowing us to zip between opponents more quickly, and when paired with the fact that Ranger grab and grab attack speeds have been increased too, we can chain together faster, smoother combos. From my experience with the updated version, I can confidently say the change in tempo is a significant improvement. The faster play speed immediately makes the game more enjoyable.
See, there's got to be a problem with the Steam version. Has to have been a problem with the Steam version.
And executing combos feels easier and more satisfying. Within seconds of trying the update, I pulled off a 50-hit combo for the first time, earning an achievement. And
I pulled out a fucking 84-hit combo on the Xbox on the current version. So there you go. So I'm saying the Xbox version is clearly ahead of this version. It's clearly better. The Xbox version is obviously better. If you're saying you can't pull off a fucking combo, I pulled off an 84 hit combo. And I pulled off many 50, 60 hit combos. I only pulled off like that 180 and the one like over 75, but I'm pulling off like 60 hit, fucking 50 hit combos, no problem on the Xbox. Legit. I have the footage.
Soon after, I managed a 75 hit combo. While this isn't enough to put the action on par with Shredder's Revenge, it certainly brings it much closer. On top of the changes to combat speed, the Ranger's dodge mechanic has also been tinkered with. Now the Rangers can perform dodge moves without any cooldown, but are only invulnerable for the initial
I don't think there was any cooldown on the Xbox. What's this cooldown? I never noticed a cooldown on the Xbox. You can just like dodge as many times as you want, can't you? I swear like the Xbox had the better version out of the gate, because like he didn't even mention this in the previous review about the dodge move, and I even said in the previous review, why is he not dodging? I don't see him dodging at all on the bosses or anything. Why is he not dodging? Is that why? Was the dodge gimped in the Steam version? Because I just like constantly dodge. You can see my gameplay, it's up. I constantly dodged on things to take them out. So like, is this what, like the Steam version must have been gimped, like I was saying in the previous video.
Frames of animation. However, in the game's easy mode, the dodge move provides invulnerability indefinitely, making the game more suitable for beat-em-up newcomers now. Further improving the game's fluidity and responsiveness, another key change is that the Rangers can now chain Rising Strike from a wide variety of states, giving players more flexibility when stringing together combos and allowing for even more creative and seamless transitions during battle. Additionally, with that dodge I just mentioned, the Rangers can now perform a dodge while holding an enemy, which not only releases their grip, but also opens up new options for evasion and repositioning. This tweak reduces the feeling of being locked into an animation and ensures players have more control during intense fights. On top of that, the Ranger Special now receives a slight boost when executed after a successful dodge, rewarding skillful defensive play and adding a further layer of risk-reward management to combat. Another issue I remember complaining about last week was the game's time disruptor mechanics. During most stages, the Rangers are required to destroy the time crystals. If these crystals aren't destroyed quickly enough after appearing, they send you back in time by a few seconds, reviving all the enemies you had just...
Like I said, not a big deal on multiple playthroughs, because you know where they are. You just hit the special and then you nail them. That's it.
Defeated. In a beat-em-up where the pacing was already a major concern for myself and many others, this feature only added to the frustration. It made the gameplay feel unnecessarily sluggish and disrupted the flow, making an already slow experience feel even more cumbersome. Digital Eclipse have taken note that many players, myself included, found the time disruptor sections disruptive, and not in a fun or challenging way. To improve these segments, they've widened the vertical attack collision for time disruptors, making it easier to land hits. Additionally, for those planning on...
Like I said, minor tweaks. I said in the previous video, this game just needs a few minor tweaks to be a 10 out of 10. And they've done it. It's a 10 out of 10 now. They did the minor tweaks.
Easy mode, time disruptors are now much easier to destroy than before. These changes help reduce the frustration, allowing for smoother and more enjoyable gameplay, so we can use our beat-em-up time to focus on beating enemies up, rather than pace-breaking inanimate objects. Top marks go to Digital Eclipse for alleviating this annoyance. In regards to further balancing the stages, food pickups that restore health have been spread out more evenly when spawning from containers, and for those who like it hard, in hard mode enemies now have the same health as in normal mode, but are now capable of inflicting twice as much damage. So they have also implemented changes for those who are looking for something more challenging as well.
I don't get it, because hard mode had harder enemies. So I don't get it. Like, they're making hard mode easier because hard mode had harder enemies. It says on it, on the description, on the game, it says normal enemies on normal, then it says hard enemies on hard, and then headache mode said hard enemies no continues, right? So the only hard mode is now headache mode, because the only game mode with hard enemies is headache mode. So to unlock headache mode, you just have to play normal twice now. It's pointless. Like, it makes no sense. Like, that's one change that I think's stupid. It's like, hard mode should have hard enemies, right? But the enemies are still hard because they do double damage, but they still take as many, like, less hits. Whatever, I don't get it. Like, I don't agree with that. Like, leave that shit alone. But other than that, okay.
Another common complaint among players was the cumbersome process of switching rangers. Previously, to change your playable character, you had to return to the main menu, reopen your save file, and select a different ranger, a process that broke immersion and slowed things down further.
Yeah, it takes all of fucking 20 seconds to do that, though, doesn't it? The game is like lightning. So what do you mean?
Thankfully, Digital Eclipse have addressed this with a quality of life update. Now, while visiting the juice bar between stages, you can easily swap characters by interacting with any NPC ranger, allowing you to switch them out instantly. This not only makes the game more convenient, but also encourages us to play as different rangers without interrupting the flow of gameplay.
You still have to go to the juice bar. You don't always go to the juice bar between fucking games. You play a level, and then there's another level, and there's another level, there's another level. And it goes on a map. So you still got to hit Y to go to the juice bar. It's just as easy to hit start, quit, and then reopen the save and select the other ranger. In fact, I think that's easier. Because you've got to go to the juice bar, walk over, talk to them, and then leave the juice bar, walk back out. That's no faster. I think if we timed it, I could do it faster by going through the menu. So this is like a completely pointless addition. It adds nothing. Why would you cry about that anyway? The only way you ever change characters like a Streets of Rage or anything is if you die anyway. Or Ninja Turtles or any of them games. Otherwise, you have to go back to the front screen. That's on all these fucking games. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand the logic.
It's a small but impactful change that makes the overall experience smoother. But it is all these little tweaks like this that make this version much more polished than what was available last week.
So they polished it up a little bit. I said they were going to do that. They did the same with Shredder's Revenge and Streets of Rage and all these games that came out. They all had little updates that made them better. And I said that this would happen with this game, but no one even considered that when they fucking reviewed it, apparently.
We have received the welcome changes just mentioned to the beat-em-up gameplay. There was the Zord and Megazord gameplay that previously really ground a lot of people's gears. So
why? It was a piece of piss. How shit are people at games these days? Yeah, like you're playing fucking Battletoads or Battletoads Double Dragon, like, or some shit like that, where it's like really hard. This game was, I could do this standing on my head. What do you mean? Like, not the whole game, but the Zord bits. I could literally stand on my head and play the game, and I could beat the Zord bits. Easy. Easy. Are you kidding me? What are you talking about, man? I don't get it, man.
Digital Eclipse have been hard at work rectifying many of these frustrations too, so let's run through them. As I pointed out last week, the Dinozord sections feel reminiscent of Space Harrier, but with a noticeable lack of control. In the classic Sega game, the ability to fly provided...
Okay, so you're going to tell me the Steam version was just really fucking shit? Because there's no problem with the Xbox version.
...the sense of freedom, whereas in this game, the grounded nature of the Dinozord sequences limits that control.
So play as the Pink Ranger.
So these sections feel less polished and lack the same quality and engagement found in the game's beat-em-up gameplay. One of the biggest frustrations in the dinosaur sections was the presence of pits, which were far too easy to fall into on first encounter. Recognising how irritated players got with this, Digital Eclipse has made some much needed adjustments. The Dinozord's gravity has been reduced, making movement feel more responsive and forgiving when navigating these hazards. This change helps create a fairer experience, allowing for smoother traversal and alleviating much of the frustration that previously met these sequences.
Again, play as the Pink Ranger. You were playing by yourself anyway. You said you wanted to play as multiple rangers. Select the fucking Zord can fly. It's not rocket science.
Additionally, many pits now feature extra ledges for players to land on, giving you a chance to recover instead of falling straight to your doom. Even better, falling into a pit no longer results in an immediate loss of life, making the experience far less punishing. These thoughtful improvements enhance the overall flow of the Dinozord sections and bring them more in line with the quality of the game's beat 'em up action. While I enjoyed the bullet hell intensity of these stages, I can see why some felt that
No,
the
you
sheer
didn't. You said they were shit. You said they shouldn't be in the game. You said they were jack of all trades, master of none. They weren't as good as Space Harry here. And you basically said you didn't think they should be in the game. It should be a straight up beat 'em up with none of this shit in it. That's what you said in the last review. What do you mean? Make up your mind.
volume of machine gun fire from bunkers, turrets and flying ships often felt overwhelming and unnecessarily punishing. Responding to this criticism, Digital Eclipse has tweaked the damage output so that attacks from bunkers, turrets and flying ships now deal less damage. The adjustments allow players to better focus on strategy and maneuvering rather than constantly worrying about taking excessive damage. Harvester encounters have also received some welcomed balancing tweaks. On lower difficulty settings, the speed and damage of the lasers have been reduced, making it less likely that
You
you
mean on the fucking easy difficulty you can spoon this thing in about 2 seconds flat. All you need to do is get either the double shot or the missiles, preferably the double shot, and you just shoot the thing and it'll be dead within seconds. Even with the single shot, it doesn't take that long to kill on easy mode now. Now, I'm talking about the Xbox version, so hey, maybe the Xbox version wasn't as broken as the Steam version. Disclaimer, but I've got a feeling that you could easily get through the Steam version as well if you had double shot. Especially on easy. Come on.
will want to smash your controller. The slower laser speed allows for more manageable dodging, while the reduced damage provides some breathing room during combat. Further to this, health replenishers and additional power-ups are littered throughout stages that help players stay in the fight longer and recover from mistakes. Combined with the improvements to gravity and pit mechanics, these changes create a more balanced and enjoyable experience in the Dinozord sections, making them more engaging as a result. Players can now focus on mastering the mechanics and enjoying the action rather than constantly worrying about overwhelming odds. Then, if they want to up the challenge, they can play through the game again, but on a higher difficulty setting. The extra balance and extra polish.
So you're saying easy mode wasn't easy enough for you, so now you're happy they've made it even easier because you can't play the game. Even though the game is not even that difficult now. At least the Xbox version. I know what you're talking about. The game was not hard. Literally, easy mode has infinite continues. It had infinite continues when the game came out. Worst case scenario, you'd have to start from the beginning of the level. Like, and this is a guy that grew up with Super Nintendo, some of the hardest motherfucking games ever made. And you're telling me he can't fucking play. That doesn't make sense. I can understand somebody who doesn't play games much struggling with this game. Yeah, maybe. But again, they've got infinite continues. They've got infinite time to get good at the game if they fucking play it. It's like, whatever. I don't get it. The game was not hard to begin with. Especially if you're saying you've played fucking Space Harry and all that fucking shit. You should be fucking piece of piss, shouldn't it? Just play as the Pink Ranger.
This is just what the Dinozords needed. The Megazord battles have received several improvements too, enhancing both performance and overall gameplay balance. Boss health has been reduced and the damage dealt to bosses has been adjusted, making these encounters feel less like endurance tests
Hold on,
and
how
more
is
like
the boss
dynamic
health?
strategic.
Whoa! The boss health hasn't been reduced. How has the boss health been reduced? That's bullshit. You're talking shit. Unless you're saying it takes less hits to fucking fill this motherfucking sword. That's the only way the boss health could be less. Because you fill the sword up. That's the boss's health. Once you fill the sword up to full, he's dead, okay? Each segment is like one segment of like what he's going to be doing here, okay? So that's like basically one segment of punches was like to there, and then it'd be like that to there, and then so how can they have made this easier? What you're saying, one segment of punches now does 2 bars instead of doing like nearly a bar? Does it do like a bar and a half now? How has the health been reduced? Because the mechanics for this were like, you get like a section of punches and that's nearly a bar. That's how it worked. So I don't get it. And that it felt the same on every difficulty. And it's not hard. It wasn't hard at all. I reiterate this. It was not hard. In any way, shape or form. This is the easiest part of the game.
Battles. Additionally, the Eye Guy's eye bombs now deal significantly less damage, and on a lower difficulty setting they appear less frequently, reducing the frustration of being overwhelmed. In the previous version of the game, the Megazord sections, like the Dinozord stages, could be quite challenging if you didn't fully understand the mechanics. I often found myself replaying these sections multiple times to improve my skills and get the hang of them. As a result, when I tackled the more refined version of the game, I was able to obliterate the bosses in the Megazord fights within seconds.
There you go. Well, I obliterated them on the Xbox, so was the Steam version just a pile of wank from day one? But I obliterated them on fucking hard mode. And headache.
Truly gauge how intuitive the rebalanced stages are, it would be best to hear from someone experiencing these battles for the first time. My familiarity with the original version now makes these encounters feel incredibly easy.
What? So now the game is fucking easy? Because you got good at it? What? That's how games are. Yeah, you play them and you get better at them. Yeah. I don't believe this guy. So you... I don't believe it. I don't believe it. So apparently you can get better at games. The game doesn't have to be made easier for you. Even though the game was a piece of piss from the beginning. Like, it wasn't hard. These sections were never hard.
But for newcomers, the improvement should ideally strike the right balance between accessibility and challenge.
There's not going to be any newcomers. The game didn't sell for shit.
So I would imagine this is the right way to go. But wait, there's more. I haven't even mentioned the biggest improvement in this updated version of the game. Remember last week when I complained about how absurd it was to release a new cooperative beat-em-up without online play? Well, that's no longer an issue.
Yeah, and I said in the previous video, there's a chance they could fucking add online. And they've done exactly what I said. It's like everything I said came true.
Co-op has now been added, and the gameplay footage you're seeing here is from my first ever online co-op session. This long overdue addition transforms the experience.
Well, apparently it's 3-player on Steam, and it's only 2-player on Xbox. Apparently, according to this. Or can you only invite someone and then invite someone in the game's in progress? I don't know. We'll see. Unless you can play like 2 on one console and then 1 on... That's interesting.
It's allowing you to team up with friends remotely and makes the game far more accessible and enjoyable for players who can't always play together in person.
Yes, but again, to reiterate the point from the previous video, I'd always take a 6-player co-op local for a Power Rangers game over 2-player online co-op. Always. And now they give you the 2-player online co-op. So is River City Girls 2 still a better game? No, because that was the one crutch that you had to say the game sucked. And now it doesn't suck because it has online. Same as all these other fucking games.
One might expect, beat-em-ups of this type are best enjoyed with others, and Power Rangers Rita's Rewind is no exception. The thrill of coordinated attacks.
And again, what I said in the previous videos, no one bought this game, so none of your friends are going to own this game anyway.
Synchronizing combat and taking down waves of enemies together adds expectedly entirely new levels of excitement. While this should have been included from the off, with this feature now available in the game, it feels more dynamic when shared. Even the Megazord battle.
Well, the clues were there because it said on the fucking Xbox thing when you bought it that it had 2-player online. And now the game has at least 2-player online. So I'm guessing they missed the deadline on that shit. The clues were there. I said this might happen in the previous video. But I said even if it didn't happen, it didn't matter. Because the game was still a fucking amazing game. But now they've just taken it to the next level.
Battles are more fun when you are taking it in turns to pilot them. Considering all the changes and new features I've covered today, this update brings Rita's Rewind up to the standard of what a modern beat-em-up experience should be. How
can minor tweaks like this, what you're saying, take it from an awful game that you'll never want to play ever again, that's worse than River City Girls 2, worse than Double Dragon Gaiden, and worse than fucking the Super Nintendo Power Rangers game, which is notoriously bad. You're saying all those games were better in the previous video. Now, minor tweaks, and we're talking minor tweaks here. Minor tweaks. And the game is suddenly an amazing game up to the standard of modern beat-em-ups. From minor tweaks. We read the list out. There was nothing major there. How is this game suddenly a 10 out of 10 for you? You're not saying a 10 out of 10, but this is what I'm saying. It's like you said it was shit. Garbage, never to be played again. And now all of a sudden, it's a good game. Did they like come at you with like a truckload of money or something? Like, what happened?
Game was transformed almost overnight from one of the roughest and most unpolished New Age brawlers I've played.
I feel like this is a Steam version issue. I feel like this fucking Steam version must have sucked ass through a straw. That's my opinion. Because I haven't played the Steam version, and I don't want to if it's worse than... And I can't play that version now anyway, because it's gone. So, we'll never know. Well, I feel like the Steam version was clearly fucked. That's my opinion. Because... But you didn't explain in the previous video what the issues were. Not fully. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me at all because you didn't explain it.
Into a genuinely great title. It now deserves a spot alongside the pantheon of retro-themed belt scrollers that I'll be revisiting for years to come.
Right, so now it's a good game. Now it's up there with the great River City Girls 2. Good God.
I'm honestly blown away by how much these tweaks have improved the game. It leaves me wondering...
Minor tweaks. Minor tweaks, man. The game... How did the game go from a fucking, like, a 0 to, like, a fucking 8 from minor tweaks? It can't have done. This can't have done.
If the developers at Digital Eclipse were capable of making such meaningful changes in just 1 week, why didn't they delay the release for a few days?
Oh, here we fucking go. Why didn't they fucking delay it? I'll tell you why. Because obviously the Steam versions fucking sucked and the other versions were fucking alright and the Steam version still wasn't backed, so they had to release all of them at the same fucking time. That's my feeling. The fucking Xbox version was not as bad as you're fucking making out the game to be. It never was. And this is what blew my fucking mind.
Days to launch this polished version instead. The game would have been better received by the public and Digital Eclipse
No one bought the game. No one bought the fucking game. So what difference does it make? It doesn't matter now. It's irrelevant. The game is not sold well. And when it goes on sale, it might sell well in the future if it goes on sale. That's the only hope for this game now. Literally, YouTubers like yourself shit all the fuck over the game. So now it's like millions of people have seen that review or whatever. Well, 100, what is it? 20,000 on this one, so 100,000 on the other one or whatever. So now the game is in the fucking shitter from people criticizing it. When it was a fucking good game at release. So now it ain't going to sell for shit, is it? Because what's the chances of people coming back and watching the second video where you, like, redeem the game? It's like most people are just going to watch the one where you wrote awful on it.
Now be facing a wave of negative user review scores they're having to combat.
Negative user review scores on Steam. People literally go on there and like vote shit down they've never even played.
We can hope for now is that the team continues to build on these improvements. For example, giving each ranger unique movesets instead of sharing the same one.
No, don't do that. Don't listen to this idiot. Why the fuck? Don't fuck with the game. The game is fine. I said, yeah, minor tweaks. They've given minor tweaks. That's it. Done. I don't need a fucking different fighting style for fucking Billy so he fights like a fucking gimp. I don't want that. Nobody does. Don't do it.
Would add more depth and variety to the gameplay. And it would also be fantastic to see the Rangers playable in their unmorphed forms. After all,
No, don't add that because no one wants to fucking do that.
they've already made the base sprites, so let's see them fight. As for additional things I'd like to see in the future, who wouldn't love a White Ranger or Lord Zed DLC down the line?
I said that in the previous video. You're a video behind.
These additions would not only enhance the game's replayability, but also solidify Rita's Rewind as a must-have Power Rangers game.
It already is. It's the best Power Rangers game of all time. Without question. What's better? What's better? Name one. There isn't a game that's better. Not even close.
Are all of these changes enough to justify the near $40 price tag?
Yes. It was worth that before. It was £25. Early adopter fucking price.
During the game's short length? Probably not.
Then why do you recommend Double Dragon Gaiden in the game that cost the same at release? Well, because you can buy it for £6 now or whatever? Doesn't make the game any better. So you're saying Double Dragon Gaiden sucked because it was £25 at release. Is that what you're saying? So why are we buying it now? This game is better than Double Dragon Gaiden. 1,000,000 times better. So it should be 1,000,000 times the fucking price. Facts.
However, I no longer feel nearly as ripped off by my purchase as I did just a week ago.
Where was the rip-off? Where was the rip-off? I don't get it. You did not describe what was wrong with the gameplay. This is the problem here.
The game
you like nitpick shit like boulders and fucking shit like that in the previous video. You were like, hey, this game has boulders that fall on you. Suddenly it's a bad game because like one level has some boulders. Another level has like Rita's fucking orb that shoots at you or something. So that means the whole game's shit. The whole game's shit because it has motorbike levels and you didn't like the motorbikes when you were a kid. It made no sense. Your previous video made no sense. This video makes a lot more sense, but you're still not making sense based on what you said in the previous video. Now you're contradicting yourself all over the place. How can minor tweaks suddenly turn a game that was fucking dishwater into fucking champagne or whatever? Like, it doesn't make sense.
And it is now genuinely good. Don't forget that the last decade has spoiled us with incredible beat-em-ups, and that I can grab you some of the best at huge discounts.
Then
How
we're
about
into the
60% off?
And then the ending. Done. Oh, fuck off. And that's it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'll upload this, but I just don't understand. I don't understand.